Emily, did you know about that twist going into season 2?
I did.
Commit to it.
It was kind of my idea.
How are you both feeling in the run-up to season 2 being released? How do you feel like...
Giddy. Quite giddy.
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 No, I love it.
I
love it. Giddy for rivals.
Yeah,
Giddy for rivals.
It's true as well. I'm really excited for people to see it. I can't wait for people to see what we've done. It took like 10 or 11 months to shoot, didn't it? And we're so proud of it. And I just really hope the viewership like it as much, if not more, than the first season.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's any added pressure coming back for season 2 and trying to hit that same really high standard of season 1?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, isn't it?
It's like it's great because we know everyone, and tonally I think we feel like we know what we're doing now, and everyone knows each other really well. So there's all the fun and excitement for your characters are. Sorry, just swallowing a burp. I don't know if it was a burp. I don't know what it was. I don't even know.
Bubble. Yeah,
I just sort of felt like my voice, closing in. But also, you just want it to be better than than before, and you want to do it justice for a multitude of reasons, for Jilly, for everyone, for the world, for all the people who love Rivals.
Yeah, we kind of want to give them what they want, but give them more than that.
An elevated version.
Yeah.
I never know how to answer that because it's like, is it more pressure or kind of less pressure? I think we know our characters way better.
Yeah.
And it was so fun the first time round, and we were all giddy, not knowing, is this going to be a hit? Is it not? I think we're more excited this time because we're now coming off the back of the success of it.
I agree. I think the pressure would have been on the writing team, actually.
Yeah.
Because maintaining those levels for Laura Wade, our showrunner, Dom, Treadwell Collins, who is our producer and writer, and the rest of the team, that's 12 one-hour episodes.
Yeah.
Maintaining that kind of level is a lot of work.
It is a lot.
And so for us, we get to play in the sandpit, but those guys were burning the midnight oil. It was crazy.
And where did we find your characters at the start of season 2? Because obviously season 1 left on a big Sarah-related cliffhanger. Yeah. Where do we find you guys at the start of season 2?
We are pregnant.
Yeah, we're pregnant.
Except we are not pregnant. She is pregnant. I don't really care.
Are we allowed to
involved.
say who the daddy is in this? No.
No.
Or we are.
I'm going to ask you spoiler-related questions later. This won't be going out until after
I think
the
we'll play
episode
fast and loose
out,
with that one.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that we are at our most toxic, really, at the beginning of season 2.
Yeah.
It's always an absolute bin fire, our marriage. But then we sort of get caught up in Tony Baddingham's web of deceit and intrigue.
Yeah.
And we then have to kind of see whether it's going to break us or preposterously bring us a little bit closer. So that's sort of the journey we take through the series.
We were so lucky on this season. They've really been kind to us, the writers, and they've allowed us to play around and really look at the relationship.
Sort of humanise it a bit, because it was funny.
So a peek behind the curtain,
Yeah.
like you always say, peek behind the curtain at the kind of the intricate complexities of their relationship, why they're together, what is it?
Because someone earlier was saying everyone's a performer in Rival.
Yeah.
All the characters are performers. They're performing in public. What happens privately, particularly for us two, is very different. We can be very different people, I think, publicly and privately.
Bella, obviously, I feel like we left Taggy kind of in a good place at the end of season 1, a hopeful place. I feel like at the start of season 2, she's maybe a bit heartbroken. She's feeling a bit ghosted maybe by Rupert. How would you describe where we find her at the start of season 2?
I think she's feeling quite cross, and I think she's feeling really confused and heartbroken and hurt.
Seeing when you're crying with your siblings is so
She's so confused and hurt. She doesn't get it. Yeah. But I think she's also, it sort of toughens her, I think. It makes her makes her feel, maybe it makes her a bit more resilient and sort of makes her grow up a lot faster than she probably thought she'd have to. And because of that, I think she becomes, slightly more feisty, a bit more forthright. This season, and I think that was really fun to play.
It's like a whole new stage of Taggy's journey, I feel.
Yeah, I think she just grows up a lot more and sort of stands up for herself, and is sort of attempting to respect herself.
Yeah.
this
No,
season.
definitely. And Alex, obviously, I feel like at the start of the season, we're seeing Rupert very much around Cameron a lot, and not really as much with Taggy. But obviously, their paths do cross. How would you describe his feelings towards Taggy at the start of the season? Or is he actually just not really thinking much about her at all?
Well, I think he's a real compartmentalizer. I think he obviously has immensely strong feelings for Taggy, but is trying to mentally move away from her because he thinks he will be really bad for her. And he's also promised Declan that he won't go anywhere near her. And he has a real history of breaking people's hearts and ruining their lives, that he doesn't want to do that to the person he kind of potentially cares most about. So he's compartmentalizing. Also, he likes sex, and he can be very present with the people that he's with. And he likes Cameron, has really strong feelings for Cameron. Potentially is falling in love with Cameron, but yeah, and is trying to keep his promise. So it's a complex one.
Right thing as well.
Exactly. He's trying to learn from Taggy's belief in him to be a better person, but that is oddly pushing him away from Taggy and towards trying to fulfill the promise that he gave to Cameron.
It's all very messy.
It's pretty messy, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I feel
It
like
doesn't get any less messy,
it doesn't
really,
get
either,
any
does
less
it? No.
messy. Obviously, there's a big Tony-related twist regarding the pregnancy. Emily, did you know about that twist going into season 2?
I
Come on,
did.
commit to it. Come
I
on.
don't know whether I should go around saying this, really.
It's fine.
But it was kind of my idea. No, I can't say that.
that.
Well, no,
Kind of-
David
Say it
and
like
I...
this. It was kind of my idea.
I don't know if
Like that.
David remembers this conversation,
Okay.
so I think he probably thinks it's his idea. I think it's my idea.
Okay.
We had a David and I had a conversation at a party, and yeah, Felicity's birthday, and we were talking, and I said, I think Tony should be the dad. And you know, and then we had a conversation about that, and then he took it to Dom, and then the writers loved that idea.
wow.
So yeah, I'll say we both came up with that idea.
Okay.
We had a conversation about it. I don't know if I can go around saying that. You
No
know?
You know
ownership
what, you
of
said
ideas.
it now,
Come
so
on.
it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It was all
do that then.
collaborative anyway.
But yes, so I did know that was
You
going to
helped
be
birth it.
a thing. Yeah.
Where did that idea come from for you?
I thought, what would I want that
glass of
twist to
champagne.
be? Yeah. And yes, actually, it's when all my good ideas come. I just thought, well, it can't be Paul's, it can't be James's. It's so whose would it be? And then I remembered there was a scene that was kind of unspoken, or there was a bit between Sarah and Tony Baddingham. It was very brief.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself at the time, oh, Sarah would be trying to
Bang up for
shag
it.
Yeah.
Tony,
Yeah.
surely. And so I kind of made that up in my mind, and yeah.
But it says something
yeah.
about the show
It
that
does,
we
yeah.
can have ideas like this and bring them to Dom, who's our genius in chief, who runs the whole thing. And he co-writes, and he'll go, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Like he'll actually include
And a
it.
show of this kind of size, it's mad. You never get to
Yeah.
do that normally as a performer, you know, any sort of input like that.
Yeah.
And Rufus, obviously, we're seeing a bit more of Paul this season.
Yeah.
It's the run up to election day. And I feel like there's a lot of moments that really angered me about Paul in the first few episodes so far.
Absolutely.
One of them being revealing
awful man.
Sarah's pregnancy live on air.
I know.
What did you kind of understand about that moment and what Paul's
Well, I mean,
motivations
that
were?
is sort of arguably the darkest thing that happens
Yeah.
between us, because it's so coercive and it's using an unborn baby as sort of leverage,
Yeah.
and it's blackmail. It's just horrible.
It's awful, isn't
It's
it?
really bad.
And
sense.
every politician needs a little baby to dandle, sort of, you know, at the end of a garden lane when the world's press are there and the scandal's broken or something. And that's all he's got in mind, his kind of public profile. Wouldn't a baby just top that off? And rather than let Sarah deal with it any way she wants, he makes her have it. And it's awful, but it's done out of desperation as well, I think. I'm not sure it's malevolent in a Baddingham kind of way.
No, 'cause
it's more
it-
just like
Yeah. Like a scrambling kind of.
a bit of a
It's
scramble.
not evil. It's desperation, as you say.
But it's proper. It's a very good sort of thumbnail sketch of where men and women were in 1987.
Yeah.
Where I think a lot of men would probably go around talking about their partner's pregnancy before that was necessarily in the bag.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that felt for me a very contemporary sort of, or a 1987 specific sort of moment.
No, it did. And Emily, when we spoke for season 1, I remember you saying that Sarah uses her sexuality to get the things that she wants, but that we later kind of always find out that why she has no choice but to do that. I feel like this season we are seeing a different side to her. We're seeing her being more outwardly manipulated by the men around her. Did that feel that way when you were embodying her for this season as well?
Yeah, I always sort of want to sob when I talk about Sarah Stratton and her kind of journey, because I see so much of myself in her, and I know that makes people wince a little bit, and my mum will be going, oh God, don't say that in interviews, but I do see a lot of myself in her. You know, that's a difficult thing to say, but it also allows me to take this character and just completely embody it and bring authenticity and nuance to her, because I understand women like this. I really do. And it's about sort of showing that it doesn't, especially back then, women were just trying to survive, you know, in male-dominated spaces. And I think, obviously, in the first series, her agenda was to, you know, climb the higher echelons of society. She wants to be a famous TV presenter and be adored, so she sort of sleeps her way to the top. In this time round, it's how can she kind of be conniving enough to with her pregnancy to gain control of everything that's going on, but also to find a family and a base for herself, and to find a man that's going to look after her. And so she's got her sights set on very different things.
Yes, because when sex stops being the currency, what takes its place?
Yeah, and being a pregnant woman, she's feeling very vulnerable, physically, mentally, everything. Feeling like she's having a job threatened to be taken away from her. She's not, you know, the young sexy thing anymore that people are trying to have it off with. But and I think that there's a scene where in the kitchen where you come home and it's sad because she's kind of like, she seduces him and she's doing everything she can to make him come home because she needs this foundation for her baby. It's
this, and you play it in this really specific artificial homemaker kind of way.
It's really
almost
sad.
1950s style.
Yeah.
And they've dressed them like that, and you just kind of
remember you fancy me, and I'm really attractive and sexy, and she's got
in a pinny and everything. But it's kind of dead behind the eyes, and it plays funny, but it's pretty sad.
It's like she's going back to default, what she thinks is default.
Exactly.
That's
in the
it.
situation. It's the using your sexuality thing that can be really, it's quite a dark thing, and
it can turn on you.
But I love playing her. I really do.
No, and it's such a great role. She's so multifaceted, I feel. Just off the back of that, obviously her sexuality was her currency in the last season. What would you say her currency is in this season, if anything at all?
That's a really good question. I think I kind of still think it is her sexuality, but also she's smart. She's really smart, and I think we're sort of there's something about using the sexuality in season 1. You don't see how smart she is. You're just kind of going, oh bloody hell, this bit of skirt running around stealing people's husbands. But I think in this, she uses her brain. Like she's
sort of playing a longer game this time, right?
Yes.
It's a kind of, and we can't talk about the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm getting nervous. I'm nervous.
I know.
What I'm saying.
But it becomes clear that Sarah's kind of, there's been a plan.
Yes.
All along.
Yes.
And that speaks to her, you know, to the character's kind of emotional intelligence. You know?
Yeah. She's always just trying to kind of keep her head above the water, and in doing so, making all these really awful mistakes. And she's a bit of a car crash, really, but she's trying to keep her head above the water.
It's quite relatable.
Oh, come on.
That's what I wanted. That's what I want.
I feel like it's very, very relatable. Obviously, Rufus, I feel like this, you know, by episode 3, we're seeing their relationship really in turmoil. They're obviously not even living together. Paul doesn't even reference Sarah in his winning speech at the election. What can you say of like the state of their relationship by the end of episode 3 and what direction it's going?
Well, I think from Paul's point of view, it's great because she's, kind of dressed up in a pinny, giving him a blowy on New Year's Day. And to a certain type of man, you don't read the irony or the sadness of that. You go, oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, you've become exactly who I want to be.
Smashed it.
Sexy pregnant woman making me dinner. Making me a fry-up. That'll do for the rest of my life. And I think he is genuinely oblivious, right up until episodes you haven't seen, later episodes, about, the leverage that is being placed on you in terms of your job, and he doesn't quite realise who the father is until much later. Could be me. But he's daft enough to not kind of read the subtext, basically, of everything Sarah's going through. And it takes other people towards the end maybe to alert him to exactly what's going on. Yeah, sorry we're fighting so shy of
No, like spoilers. Yeah, exactly. It must be very tricky. Obviously, there's so many couples in this as well. I guess maybe it's hard. Maybe it's not the right word to say that we're rooting for Sarah and Paul in a lot of ways. But are there any other couples and rivals that you personally are rooting for?
Well, this is the interesting thing, and this is how Jilly creates these amazing characters, because she shows complicated, flawed couples, characters, affairs, and it's for example with the Freddie and Lizzie story, you're rooting for them, but they're having an affair. They're actually hurting their families, and but so it's interesting how as human beings it's just, I think what Jilly does so brilliantly with her characters is show that people are complicated, relationships are complicated, and nothing is one-dimensional. Everything has nuance. And yeah.
I know it's sacrilegious to say, but I thought Rupert and Cameron made quite a good pair.
Yeah, they did.
And we know that Rupert and Taggy is the heartbeat of the show, and that is ultimately where the kind of the big romance is going to happen, or maybe not. But Rupert and Cameron, you kind of go, that could work. Yeah, that'd be good. And she needs someone like him, and he needs someone like her. And I don't know, they look good in that first episode.
They really do.
Yeah,
literally.
They really do.
Like, crazy, go. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to picture.
Oh, exactly. Listen.
Episode 2 has some really joyous moments though. We've obviously got Sarah's dinner party and the hilarious kind of pantry scenes. How much fun were they to film? Were they as fun to film as they were to watch? Because I feel like those were some really hilarious scenes in the second act.
That was really, really fun. We shot the dinner party in like one long unbroken take, and then obviously we had to shoot inside the cupboards, but actually all of the stuff outside of the cupboards was one take. So while it was really, really fun, we all had to really be on it so we didn't ruin the take. So that was a sort of added pressure to it, didn't it?
Yeah, was it it was a one-shot sequence for that? Did it feel kind of theatrical, doing that in the moment?
Yeah, definitely.
It was like doing a little play, wasn't it?
Yeah, literally. And I feel like after that, that's quite a turning point for Rupert and Taggy as well. What can you describe about afterwards and how that kind of experience kind of bonds them in a way, and they kind of actually do grow a little bit more closer?
They get pulled away and pulled together so much this season, and I think those little moments of joy between them makes it so painful, because it's so evidently clear they adore each other, but there's so many moving parts and there's so many things pushing them against each other. And I think you see those little moments, they sort of know in their hearts how right they are for each other. But then, life gets in the way, other relationships get in the way, and we love doing those moments.
I think they have a way of being together that is just so natural that as soon as they're together, they know how to be in ways that they don't maybe in other parts of their lives or with other people. But actually loads of stuff gets in the way of their ability to just naturally be themselves in those scenes, because they're having to try and stay away from each other, and that's really interesting stuff to play, isn't it? Those sort of poles.
Definitely. And Alex, obviously this season we're seeing the introduction of Hayley Atwell and Rupert Everett's character. Yeah. I feel like that's a very knotty backstory between that trio of characters. Yeah. What can you tell me about how they intersect paths with Rupert?
So Hayley plays Helen Gordon, that's Rupert's ex-wife, and Malise, Rupert Everett is his ex-show jumping mentor who is now married to Helen, and they both have really strong, fairly negative feelings towards him, but also some protective feelings towards him as well. And he's really, 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 really hurt their feelings many, many, many times. And I think they are at the end of their tether in it. Rupert's children are also in it, which I think really brings a whole other level to his character. And he's trying to confront past mistakes and reckon with them and kind of potentially atone for them, but it's not a straight path.
No, it isn't. And obviously this is a spoiler, so we'll hold this until after the series has actually come out. But obviously at the end of episode 3, we see that Rupert is at the centre of his own major big scandal and his world is literally turned upside down. What can you tease about the impact that has on Rupert, but also the impact that it has on Taggy going forward?
Well, he's forced to reevaluate and recalibrate what he's doing with his life and his actions. He's always got so far on confidence and charisma and bravado and sort of bullishly pushing, forward an agenda that he wants. And it's all kind of come apart. All of his ways to win and like be alpha on top of people are disabled, and he has to try and pick himself back up off the floor. It's kind of the lowest he's potentially been, I think.
And Bella?
I just think she cares for him so deeply, and I think, even though the reason is sort of quite a controversial reason, his downfall, she can't help but empathise with him and feel sorry for him, and I think it pains her to see him go through such a, hit rock bottom.
She just has this unwavering belief in his goodness, which is really fascinating.
But he is good in so many ways. I think he is. I think they really adore each other, and I think it's actually really simple. When they're left on their own.
Yeah, but the story isn't simple.
The story is
the
far
feelings
from
are, but
simple.
yeah.